there is, without a doubt, a lot of awful things on the media. Social media is being used. There are a lot of hate groups on Facebook, for instance. You all know it. You know, there's a hate group against sisters in Islam, which is my group. You know, for some reason we are a threat to a lot of people. Um, but I do think that the very nature of the internet, where all sorts of opinions come there, is a good thing, because you have to deal with it. For every opinion you have, somebody else has a different opinion, and you have to deal with it. And that makes you think, hopefully. That sort of, I think the worst thing of all, for unity, I'm afraid, is certainty. Being certain that your point of view is absolutely right and there's nothing else. Being certain that this is the way to go and there's no other way. What the internet does is it shatters certainty. And to me that's a good thing, because if it makes you a little bit uncertain, you have to empathize with someone else, because, you know, maybe the other person has a point. You know what I mean? It's not, because how can I be right? It can be soul shattering. I remember as a young person and being at university and coming with very, very certain points of view, very sure what I thought, and going into class and having different people saying different things. I mean, it really shook me. It shook me that other people should have different points of view. And then I realized, well, why not? They grew up completely differently from me. Whether it was a different country or different culture or different class or different background completely. Why shouldn't they have different points of view? And what makes me think that my point of view is more valid than theirs? That was really, you know, unnerving, very scary. But you know what? The more exposure to it, I think you get inoculated. Meaning that you realize you're not going to die if somebody else has a different point of view from you. And nowadays, I think it's a shortcut in a way that when you go on the internet, you get all these different points of view. And if you have an open mind with it, and you realize that, you know, people have a right to that point of view, it's equally valid as yours, then you do get inoculated, not against them, but inoculated to the idea that difference of opinion is going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. It makes you stronger. You know, it's like inoculation. Inoculation means introducing a foreign body into you, but it makes you strong because you build the resistance if you need to it. So I think this sort of, the internet with all the shared, you can have shared ideas, you can have different ideas, you can have shared trends. There can be all sorts of positive things that come out with it, because you do find friends, you do find common cause, and that's what brings people together. And we've seen in Malaysia, I'm so happy, you know, I've seen so many young people come together for common cause. A group like Random Alphabets, I'm sure you know. And you know, this flash mob sounds like a fun thing, but underneath them, there is a real foundation for unity there. And I really take my hats off to Zain HD and his team, because the diversity of young people that have come together for these events have been fantastic. Kali Tenang, I think it was just fantastic. Then the other groups that essentially come together to educate, for instance like my consti, now this new one, Undi Malaysia, trying to get young people to understand our constitution and to go out and vote. I think it's great. Because the ultimate expression of what young people can do and young people do through a lot of social media is the Egyptian revolution. And we really have to look at it, and we really have to take the lessons from it. It was certainly an idea that which time had come. I mean, it's ripe for revolution. Yes, 1 minute. Ripe for revolution because the conditions not the same as ours, they're, where huge numbers of people living under $2 a day and lots of youth unemployment. It's a terrible situation. But there was this young, educated elite, no doubt, who were using social media and who brought together people for an idea. And the idea really was freedom. I think that you cannot have unity without freedom. And that sounds radical, and I really can't stand it when people say that when you talk about freedom, it's the freedom to walk around in bikinis. No, it's the freedom to breathe. And that's something that we don't have here. I feel very strongly young people don't have here. They don't have the freedom to breathe because they're always, as everyone's been saying, being told what to do, what to think. You can break out of that. You can ask for breathing space. Don't ask, demand breathing space through social media, and then make it translate into social movements. There's no point just chatting away, online, if you don't translate it into action. Maybe not yet Egyptian-style revolution, although personally I'll be happy. But ways towards it. Just revolutionize, like Jonson says, the way of thinking. The way we think of politics. I mean, politics right now, I have to say, is completely disgusting. It's completely disgusting. I'm sorry, and politicians are completely disgusting people. I see sleazeballs on the front of the newspapers every day. I don't want to look at it. I want to throw it away. Why should we have? Newspapers are no good except to wrap fish and worse things. Really. So you can't wrap things with the internet. So you can't wrap fish with the internet. So that's quite good. But yeah. So Facebook and Twitter, to me, you can use it positively. You can use it to bring people together. That's what I use Twitter for. I think of it as a channel for educating people, for bringing together people of common cause. Causes that I particularly espouse. Just one bit of warning I have to give, though, about reading, and I really believe in reading. We need to read. And the trouble with social media nowadays, particularly with Twitter, because it's 140 characters, is that it reduces your attention span, like zoom, down to 140 characters. And that's a shame. It makes you impatient. I get impatient. You have links on Twitter that goes on to long articles, and I find myself zooming through it. And that's, I think this is a problem. It might not be an eternal problem, but it is a problem that we need to watch out for. Are we taking life in these quick bites, and therefore do we have time to reflect and assess what we are taking from the media, simply because we are impatient now? We're much more impatient. On the other hand, I think Twitter gives us to access, and Facebook, to lots and lots more knowledge. But we have to take the time to go through it and to use it in the best way possible. So, on the whole, I think media provides a lot of opportunity for unity. But we have to be very mindful of it, mindful that it's not controlling us, but more we are controlling, and every one of us. We can choose. We can choose how we want to use the media, but we have to be conscious of that. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Marina.